is hosted by Tony Gapastione. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, it's showtime, episode 253 of the Brave Maker podcast. My name is Tony Gapastione, and I am a filmmaker, an actor, a writer, all the things creative in Redwood City, California is where I hail from. I'm in the Brave Maker studio right now. My physical description is I'm a Caucasian guy wearing yellow glasses and a black trucker hat today with a white shirt in our faux green background with the pink words Brave Maker and a striped black and white wall to my right. Hey, everybody is included and should be at the table of creativity. My hope every podcast that we do is to educate, entertain, and create community with film. Stories have the power to change the world. That's why we do what we do. So I'm here today for episode 253 by myself, just to talk a little bit about getting creative meetings. I titled this 5 things you can say other than, can I pick your brain? I know a lot of us, and I still say it sometimes too, and I'm trying to get it out of my vocabulary because I have my own kind of cringy, triggering reaction to it these days, but I've heard a lot of other people start to say that phrase needs to be out and new phrases need to be in. Because, you know, even though I'm a horror fan and I love zombie movies, the idea of someone picking at my brain and taking it apart doesn't sound so appealing. But there are 5 other things that might be helpful for you to use. Okay, so as always, if you're watching live or on the replay, you can make comments. We welcome it and hopefully encourage some connection on the socials because we are very active on the socials. So here's my number 1 thing you can do out of 5. Instead of can I pick your brain, you could say, would you have some time to meet with me? Okay, it's just a simple question. Would you have some time to meet? And you could be very specific in there, and I would encourage you to do it. You're asking for time from a person whose time is very valuable. Usually you're asking for someone to give you, some feedback or answer some questions, and we need to honor that request comes with a sacrifice, right? So would you have time to meet with me is way better than saying, can I pick your brain? It's saying to that person you recognize they have a schedule. It's saying to that person you recognize time is valuable. And the number 1 thing I think, instead of saying pick your brain, you should include in that request is, can I buy you lunch or buy you coffee? When people ask me, in fact, huge shout out to, I won't name the name, but somebody asked me if they could get together. They wanted to talk about their movie that they're making. And I said, sure, let's go. I gave them my scheduler and they picked a time that was right, for my schedule. And when we got to the coffee shop that I always hang out, I pulled out my wallet to pay, just kind of like out of instinct or habit. And the person said, oh, no, I got you. I asked you here, let me pay for it. And for a split second, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You are asking me to give you my time. So being worthy of someone else's compliments of the purchase, that's a weird way to say it, being paid for is the right way to go, right? If you're going to ask somebody to share what's in their brain with you, you can buy them lunch or buy them coffee. Now, I have been to meetings in LA. I have had a couple meetings where I'm meeting with a producer and or a manager, and these people are way more ahead in their creative work and in their journey, maybe a little bit more financially secure than me. So when I offer to pay and they say, oh no, I got you, I still would say, if the person that you're taking out says I'll pay, you should say, are you sure? I got it. And then just double check, right? I remember 2 different times people that I asked for their time to go out, I offered to pay, and one of them said, no, I got it. I'm going to expense it. This is a company expense. I was like, oh, heck yeah, we'll put it on the company, right? So instead of saying pick your brain, ask for someone's time, be aware of their schedule, and offer to pay for that lunch or coffee. I will say my preference, this is just me, everyone's going to have a different way to go about it. I would say I like doing the coffee route a lot better, because sometimes I've noticed going out to lunches that, people eat at different kind of rates. I think my biggest weird pet peeve is when I'm out to lunch with somebody and they're doing a ton of talking and I'm just eating. And then all of a sudden I notice I'm done with my food and they're still talking. So coffees are always, I think, more appealing for me. That's just me. And you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to send this link out to people who I am in relationship with or my interns. This is so crucial. Don't use the word pick your brain. Ask somebody for their time and then also offer to pick up the tab. Now, I will also say, as I go into number 2, there are going to be people who are not going to have time to go out to coffee or lunch. There are going to be people who don't live close enough to you. I'm not in LA, so a lot of the people that I am connecting with, although I was just talking about in-person meetings in LA, I'm doing Zooms with. So you might say, number 2, hey, instead of saying, can I pick your brain? Hey, I really love your work. I really love, maybe be specific. I really loved the episode that you did, that you directed. Or I really love your feature film, insert title here for me, Last Chance Charlene. I really love your film. And I would love to ask you some questions, maybe by Zoom. If you have 20 or 30 minutes, could we jump on one? Okay, so this number 2 idea, other than saying, can I pick your brain, is affirming somebody for something that you want to learn from. Find an encouraging thing about that person, about their work, about what you have seen them put out into the world creatively that you want to learn from. That's also, people like to be affirmed. I have to say, people are very much, in this business, wanting to feel affirmation and encouragement. And again, I'll say be careful with some of these things, because this business, and I say the business meaning the entertainment industry, Hollywood, etc., there is a fine line between blowing smoke up someone's behind and saying things that aren't as truthful or meaningful because you're trying to puff them up. Don't do that. Be honest. Find something truly grounded and real that you truly can stand behind and say, I love this about your work or who you are or what you do in the world. That's, for me, if I hear somebody say that, if I hear someone say, hey, I watched your movie, I love that you played with grief in such a unique way. And some of you out there have been so gracious to find those types of affirmations about my work specifically. And I say, awesome. I want to hang out with people who watch my work, who love my work. And that also makes me want to sacrifice my time with somebody if they ask me in that way, with that kind of affirming standpoint, right? Like they're in the work and they've done which is going to be my next idea, number 3, they've done the research. Number 3, instead of saying, can I pick your brain? You should say something, or not should, I don't like using should. You could say something like, hey, I was researching your backstory. And wow, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more, if I could, about how you broke in. Or I noticed on another podcast that I was listening to that you were on, or in the case of people who have their podcasts like myself, I'm also thinking about Hilliard Guess. I'm thinking about Matt Enlow, thinking about the No Film School podcast, Gigi Hawkins, Oren Kaplan from No Film School. There are so many podcasts out there. John August and Craig Mazin often talk about this, that people who have done work usually are doing press. They can be found talking on some YouTube channel. Okay. If you are doing your research, number 3, well, you don't use something like says, can I pick your brain? You say, hey, I've already been listening to you. I've already been following you. I already have a sense of your work and what you do on a regular basis. And I'd like to go deeper. For instance, on episode 200 of the Brave Maker podcast, you had this guest on and you were talking about this. I have listened to that, and I would like to know and go deeper. Do you have time for that? Kind of incorporating the other things I'm saying. So research. I think what's really challenging, and I'm not the only one who has said this, I've heard people say this in many spaces when it comes to mentoring others or being asked to go out and have a meeting or give time or advice, is that people will feel like, I have given these conversations or I've talked about this topic hundreds of times. It's easily accessible. I don't want to make time to just kind of like repeat myself when you should be listening to for instance, Bravemaker has over 250 podcasts now that we talk about this stuff all the time. If you're going to ask me for my time, it should be something deeper, better, more than I have maybe put out in the past. And also, I'll say again, going to this number 3 thing, the research that you do should be real and legit. Like, I have had people ask me for my time that haven't watched my movie. They're asking me to tell me about my movie that I spent, all this time, all this money, sweat, blood, tears, and they haven't even watched it. And they're asking for my time. That is like a huge turnoff to me. And I would think to other people, if you don't know the work that from the person that you're asking to give you their time. Okay, so do your research. If somebody has done the research and is talking proficiently in the style of my storytelling, and they're hitting on themes that I tend to go about, if they're wanting to know about breaking in, and they're aware of how I did it, how I started a nonprofit, how I began in shorts, they're following me. Oh my gosh, here's the other thing. Ooh, this is a big one. Research means you are following this person and engaging with this person in an online way before you ask them for their time. No, I can't even tell you how many times this happens. Someone says in a DM on an Instagram, can I hang out with you? Can I take you out? I'd like to pick your brain. And I go and see they're not even following me. They haven't even engaged or made a comment on any of my stuff. They're not even following Bravemaker. I'm like, what? That is just... this is blatant, kind of rude. It's a little bit rude. It's like, it took you nothing, took you no time to send a DM to say, could I go out with you? Could I hang out with you? Could I pick your brain? Because I want to gain something from you. I want to take, but they haven't been mutually beneficial. That's part of the research. And then we say this all the time at Bravemaker is the generation, the time, the social media culture that we live in, these relationships are accessible. And I'll tell you, I will do and help anyone and everyone who seems to care enough to do that kind of stuff, to care enough to engage in that way. So research entails so many things. Okay, so check that out. Ask yourself, why would this person want to give me their time if I don't know much about them and I'm just asking them to talk about things that they've already been talking about for tons of episodes or years on some sort of other channel or platform. Okay, all right. Number 4, instead of can I pick your brain, ask for some specific help. Here's where I think a lot of us sometimes miss opportunities when we want to hang out with somebody or get somebody's time. We're not specific about what we want. What do you want? What do you need? I've been out on these coffee dates, sometimes, and I have had to sit back after I'm listening to this person kind of go on, and I'm not sure what they're asking from me or why I'm even there, which is on me too. I need to be better about making sure I know ahead of time, like, what the heck am I going on this coffee date for, right? So if you're going to ask for someone's time, tell them why. Be specific. I need inputs on a problem I'm trying to solve. Or, hey, again, because of my research, I know you made a feature film in 13 days and a micro budget. I'm doing the same thing, and I'm struggling to figure out how I could hire my people, and I want to figure out better fundraising tactics. And I read your blog about fundraising, Tony, and I have some other specific questions about it. Oh, great. Okay, if somebody asks me specifically, and they're taking me out to coffee or they're getting on a Zoom, and I know what the agenda is for that meeting, I will more than likely want to go to that meeting. Okay, a specific ask is huge. The other part of asking specific questions for those that you want time from is there something mutually beneficial that you can offer or connect or partner on? I'm speaking for my own stuff. Is I want to produce. I want to direct. I want to write feature film, TV, all that kind of stuff. If somebody says to me, hey, I'm working on a project and I wonder if you might be a good candidate for partnering with me in it. I wonder if you might want to produce. Now, this isn't going to work for everybody. Like you can't, DM Jason Blum from Blumhouse and say, hey, Jason, who's way, way, way above. I think you would be a great producer for this film. I mean, you can try. You can always try everything. One of my favorite people from our recent film festival, Leah Knauer, talks a lot about manifesting and being intentional and putting yourself out there. And she was DMing a filmmaker she wanted to work with for a long time and asking and trying to get in there. And eventually it did happen for her. So, do anything and everything you can. Don't be weird. Don't be rude. Don't be demanding, right? So in number 4, don't say, can I pick your brain? Say something that you're trying to go after, specifically, but also, is there a way that you could make it appealing to me when you ask for my time or when you're asking for someone else's time? Because if I think, oh, this person is a potential collaborator for me, this person is going to potentially also be someone I want to invest in because I see it fulfilling my creative goals. Oh my gosh, that's super interesting. I would be very, 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 very interested in doing that. Okay. So that's number 4. Avoid saying, can I pick your brain, but ask something specifically that you think this person can help you do. Okay. Number 5, the 5th thing I would say, instead of saying, can I pick your brain, is going back to the awareness and honoring of someone's time that you say, hey, I know you're in pre-production for your next feature film, or I know you just sold a pilot and you're probably, got a lot of plates in the air right now, but I'm wondering if, when it's convenient for you, trying to tie all these things together, if it's convenient for you, if there's any way that I could help you with that, because I am working toward being a director. I am working toward becoming a staff writer of a room in TV. Instead of saying, can I pick your brain, know what that person is doing right now and how you might benefit them. Because in the world of the entertainment industry, again, these are just my opinions, and somebody else might have a totally different opinion and have totally different, top 5 things to say, which is great. Everyone's going to be different. There is something, I think, I am looking for people to partner with me and help elevate my work too. I give a lot and I want to give a lot. And a lot of people, showrunners and directors and people who have deals with studios, they're giving a lot. They're working on deadlines. People who have podcasts, they're creating. I think of the Screenwriting Life women, Lorian and Meg. These 2 are constantly putting out stuff out onto the internet. And I know a lot of people are asking for their time. That's why they created these little Patreon groups. And that's why I created my mastermind group on Monday. It's like, if you want to have time with me, then pay the $99 a month, going up to $125 in January of 2025. But come to my Monday mastermind, and then you'll get some time with me every single week. If people saw that they could give back to the people they wanted to have time with, that they could be a part of their groups, and that would be something they could pay, right, for those consults or pay for coaching or pay for their classes, that is going to get you on the radar way quicker than, going to a film festival and, just bumping into somebody that you meet after a panel discussion and immediately saying, here's my card. Could I take you out to lunch or coffee? It takes time to build those relationships. So don't ask to pick someone's brain. I have to say this is a hard thing to hear after meeting them for 30 seconds. Don't ask to take someone out to coffee after meeting them for 30 seconds. Again, my opinion, that might be a little too fast. It's like dating. You need to spend time getting to know someone and they need to get to know you. I'm not going to say yes to somebody who says, we should do lunch. After we just passed, at an event. Maybe they watched my short film at a screening, or they, came to the Timeless Film Festival in Castro Valley. There is a relationship building process. that's the networking thing. So it takes time. So number 5, don't ask to pick someone's brain. Ask and find out if there's a way you can be mutually beneficial to them after you've spent time researching, after you're aware of their work, after you're aware of their schedule, and try to say when things are convenient, and offer if you could give something back to them. I'll tell you, the intern program that Bravemaker does, I'm always watching these interns to see how I could be mutually beneficial to them. Many of the interns that come through our program, they're working for me. They're giving their time, many times free. And then I'm trying to go, could I get them paid gigs? Could I introduce them to other people when I see that they've put in the work, when I see that they are trustworthy? That is a huge part of the industry that people want to see you. If you're going to ask them for their time, is that you will be able to be someone who's loyal and trustworthy that could potentially partner with them for the future. So I hope these things are helpful. Let's get rid of that phrase, pick your brain, and be a little bit more intentional, a little bit more creative. And remember that, and I've done a podcast about this, that filmmaking is about getting. It's getting. It should feel asking for mentors. And I'd like to mentor a lot of people, and I've been mentored. I need more mentorship. I want it to feel that if I'm mentoring somebody, they're trying their best to look around to see how they can push Tony Gapastione and push Bravemaker's initiatives forward just as much as I'm doing that for them. All right. That's episode 253. If you want to know more information about Bravemaker, go to bravemaker.com. You can follow us on all the socials. If you're watching this on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, please follow and subscribe and share with other people so that other people can find out this information to go after their creative goals. If you want intentionality and professional development with your filmmaking, your writing, your directing, your editing, your photography, your author, your writing your book, whatever, you're making music, you're a dancer, we have a really cool professional development track called the Bravemaker Mastermind. That's a membership, $99 a month currently here in 2024, going up in 2025. That gets you access to myself and to all sorts of cool people that are creating collaborations, movers and shakers from LA to New York. We have Emmy-winning producers and writers and filmmakers of all sorts. We just had a really cool DP roundtable. bravemaker.com/membership. And just in general, follow along, because we are doing so many things, from our acting academy classes to I teach screenwriting to we have mixers, where our Halloween party, our October 26th Friday night Halloween party, which is an annual event where we will also premiere our new short film called Creature Comforter. There's so many cool things. So thanks everybody for following along. Thanks to our social media producer who's crushing it right now, Alessia, who's doing amazing things. I'm so grateful for Alessia, one of our podcast producers, Amy Cohen, one of our interns, Jessica Cohen, and all of the team who continue to work and move Bravemaker forward. I super appreciate you all. And until next time, just remember that brave stories change the world, and you are the story. All right, I'll see everybody next time for episode 254.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word Bravemaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.